Hi everyone, it's Wendy again. I'm building on this month's series about how to get yourself set up for success in 2015. To recap, so far this month we've talked about mind mapping to make sure that all of your ideas are accounted for, and then we talked about scheduling to make sure that all of those ideas find their way into your daily or weekly schedule. Today, I want to talk about systems. Now, maybe you remember from last week we had all these great lists about the major activities we want in our day broken down into lists of general activities and specific activities. I don't know if you can see on my board here, my fancy paper taped on the wall. So during the scheduling phase, I talked about how you break up your day into hours that, like, you have 2 hours for creative writing. And when you get to that hourly block, you start on your specific tasks first and then move up to the general if there's more time. But what happens if you don't seem to have the time ever to get to some of those more general tasks? That's where systems comes in handy. Trust me, I never would have been able to keep up with all the things I needed to do for 5-minute fiction if it hadn't been for systems. Just to be sure we're on the same page, I'm using the word systems to mean a collection of elements that are organized for a common purpose. It's similar to how you might use the word method, because it's basically describing just how do you get all those little things done in a day without feeling completely overwhelmed. Now, systems can be really big, like setting up an entirely new business, in which case I should recommend you check out the book review from yesterday, because they did a great job describing just what all the different steps you need to do that. But they can also be really, really small. Like, how do you filter through all those emails you get in a day? What I like about systems is they take a lot of the guesswork out of your daily activities, and they start turning them into something more like synchronized habits. How you set up a system is entirely up to you, and it depends a lot on what it is that you're looking to do. For example, going through your email list, you might want to set up filters that automatically send specific messages to different folders, like subscriptions, friends, clients, blog related. It's a system that you don't even have to think about once you've got it set up. The email program does it all for you. When it comes time, your creative writing block time, you can just kind of skim through your general emails to make sure there wasn't anything that you might have forgotten to filter out. And then you skip right over to your creative writing filtered folder, and you can kind of go through that without ever having to worry about getting sidetracked about your cousin's latest news about little Jimmy's upcoming solo concert. Another thing you can do in email is canned responses or templates. So if there's a message that you send out on a regular basis, like a query letter or something like that, you can plug that into your template or your canned response, and then when it comes time to send that out, you just have that inserted into a new message. You adjust it as necessary and send it, and it takes, half the typing out anyway. Other systems you might use might take a lot more effort to set up. For example, when I was running 5-minute fiction, there were a series of activities that I had to do before the contest started, like the days before the contest started, then right before the contest started, then during the contest, then right after the contest, and then like the day or two after that. So for something like that, I used a hierarchical list on Checklist is what the system is called. It's an online program that allows you to establish a list that you just kind of tab over to nest items under other items. So I had like pre-contest, and then you had these little items that I had to do, and then during the contest, and then more items that I had to do, and then post-contest, and then more items I had to do. And then when it was pre-contest time, I could collapse those other two lists and work on just the things I needed to do pre-contest, so I wouldn't feel all overwhelmed and stressed or upset about all this massive amount of stuff that I had to do. And I didn't have to try and remember it all or keep it all in my head. Right now, I'm working on developing a system or finding a system that will help me keep track of my projects and submissions a little better. Tomorrow, I'll be sharing with you some of the software and online tools I've found that help make some of these systems easier to establish. Some of them even do a good chunk of the work for you, like those email filters I was just talking about. Until then, I'm curious, what kind of systems do you have in place in your work to help you accomplish your tasks? You could also help me out a lot if you could recommend your favorite submission tracker software. If you don't have one, would you be interested in knowing about whatever I come up with? Let me know in the comments, and I'll talk to you later.